and now you're heading to Kentucky, which is a huge step for you. So we just want to talk a little bit about your journey and how everything's been for you so far. So to start, what has your experience at Lake Central meant to you?
My experience at Lake Central to me has been, just the type of culture that we've created there. Um, I mentioned before in other, interviews and stuff like that, how I didn't have the best freshman and sophomore year with like a culture. I still love the girls, individually, but together we didn't click. Um, I think that this year it's something different, something special, and that our work ethic that we've created since we've started in September all the way to now has grown tremendously. And I think that we have the potential to go to state this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's awesome when you have a team that's behind you. It can be very hard to navigate a season when not everybody's heads are in the right spot or the team just doesn't feel like they're together. I think having that backup system is very important when you're on a sports team. Do, moving along, what has the recruiting process been like for you with Kentucky?
Um, I had a feeling that it's always been Kentucky. I started going to camps when I was, I want to say seventh, eighth grade. And right as I stepped on campus, I knew that like it felt like home. It was right for me. Leading up to September 1st, it was a very stressful time. Trying to, plan out what schools that I wanted to go visit, what schools I wanted to have a phone call with. Um, it took a lot out of, I would say it took probably about 2 weeks of organizing all of that. Um, Going into it, I had a visit set up. I went on my first visit to Michigan. I liked it there. Nothing against them. I thought it was a beautiful campus. And then going to the weekend after Northwestern, I do have a former teammate from Lake Central that plays there currently, and some other travel teammates that go there. Um, I also really enjoyed it. It was hard. It was the top three. But then when I went on to Kentucky's campus, they truly made me feel like home. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the, coaching staff and how they treat me as a player. And not only just like me as a player, they also like me as a person. So from going forward, unfortunately had to tell the rest of the schools like, hey, I can't, I'm committing to Kentucky. Um, and I was happy ever since.
Yeah, it just felt like the right place. Felt like home.
Yes.
Definitely need that. Did your coaches, did your parents, did you lean on anybody for advice at that time? Teammates, travel coaches, anything like that?
I really relied on my parents. My parents had a huge role when it came to just softball in general, and especially since it was a stressful time. During September 1st, they helped me, make sure like, hey, is this what you want? We're gonna make a pros and cons list of each school that, are interested in you. I also think that my travel ball coach had a very big impact. He's helped me, since I joined the team on my first year or my second year 14s, making sure that I'm very organized with the schools and, what schools are interested in me. Um, but I also would say that my sister had a big impact on, helping, deciding where I want to go. I think that, just talking to somebody that's not an adult, really like kind of calmed me down a little bit, and she helped me a lot.
I agree. I think having a sister, having one myself, it's really nice to talk to someone that doesn't try to parent you, but they also give you the advice you need to hear.
Right. And
So
she's very straight up with it. She's very like, okay, well, if you want this, this, and this, then you should just commit. And so she's very straightforward with me. And I appreciate it. Sometimes it was a little harsh, but I needed to hear it.
and you're like, "You know what? Give it to me. I needed that."
Yes.
Um, I know you said you're a big family person and Kentucky felt like the right fit because it's not too far. What else with Kentucky that fit your personality other than the family aspect did you notice when you were looking at them?
When I looked at them, there's a lot. I was very picky on each school that I went to, trying to not see the best in all of it, but also trying to pick out, the cons. When it came down to it, I had very little cons to say about Kentucky. Um, I liked the fact that the coaches still reach out to me after I committed, and even in the recruitment process, was reaching out to me and was like, "Hey, how's your day?" And it would be like simple, conversations, but it truly made an impact when I was making my decision. Um, I also like the environment that, like how Lexington is. It seems very like home back here. If I'm gonna go live somewhere, I don't want to live in the city. I would rather live somewhere, that reminds me of my own home. So I think it, gave a very homey feeling that made me realize I just love this place.
Yeah. My freshman year, I remember I wanted to just run home, and that's not really an option when you're a freshman. You don't have a
Right.
car. At least most of us didn't.
Right.
And I also know playing a sport, it's a little bit harder because you don't have that opportunity to just pack your bags up and leave because you have to stay for practice and conditioning and lift and all of that stuff and team things. So having that home feel will definitely be nice for you out there. You're moving into your senior year at Lake Central. Can you walk us through how you're feeling with one more year?
Um, I'm emotional about it. I was just having a conversation with my mom, and I was like, I can't believe I'm a senior already. Um, I think that the biggest part is that our seniors this year have a big like leadership role, and they truly are, a big reason why, our culture is the way it is on this team. And I want to bring that for, the underclassmen that are coming in as a freshman. For example, my sister's coming in freshman year. So I want to kind of just take her under my wing and just show her that hey, this is what, our culture and our environment is like. So you're gonna have to adapt to it. I also just want them to see that I'm just like their big sister. I want them to rely on me. You can tell me anything. I can give you advice, whether it's school or softball or just tips on anything in life. But I really just want to have that like good relationship with the underclassmen that when I was a freshman, I had an amazing relationship with all the upperclassmen. And I still talk to them all today. So
That's great. That's actually
yeah.
that's good to hear. You guys can follow each other.
I know, and they still, all the alumni still come back and they come to games, and it's kind of emotional to see all of those people that impacted me my freshman year to see that I'm about to be a senior. So
Yeah, I don't even think I was at Lake Central when you were a freshman.
no, I think that was
I
like
graduated in
2024.
2022. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh,
Oh no.
I was still in middle school.
Yeah. My, yeah. Oh my gosh. Because my sister wasn't even at Lake Central yet, and she
Because she
graduates next year.
a year before me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's crazy to just think.
Yeah, because 'cause I'm trying to think of, like, girls I knew on Lake Central softball team back then. Like, I think the only one I can think of right now is her name was, like, Lala, but I don't know if you know her.
Do you know Grace Renshin?
She sounds familiar.
Yeah, I her sister is the one that plays at Northwestern that I'm very close with.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it. Yeah, that name is ringing a bell.
yeah.
So far, what do you think your favorite memory at LC has been?
My favorite memory has been a lot of just the team bonding. I think that is very like when it comes down to team culture that I've been mentioning before. I think it's very important to have, that team bond with everyone. But especially when we're at our away tournaments, we're with each other 24/7, with each other for like 2 days straight, and we have to make the most of it. And when we, all hang out in each other's hotel room, um, it gets to a point where like we'll knock on our coach's doors and like run away, or we'll like call their room number and just like play creepy sounds in it. It's so funny in the moment, but like looking back on it, that's all we've ever, done since my freshman year. So I don't
You
know. I
gotta
enjoy
keep the tradition
those.
alive.
Exactly.
You can't stop it, and you gotta make sure when you leave that they're all still doing it as well. Because
I know. Oh, that makes my heart. Oh my gosh.
I know it's sad.
It is sad.
Trust me, it goes by very fast.
I know.
Um, Talking about your stats, like, you are a phenomenal player, hands down. Not only can you pitch, but you can bat. Um, when you're playing, how do you keep your mind in the game and stay focused? I feel like being such a top player, there's a lot riding on you during games, and a lot of people rely on you. And I know being a pitcher, I'm sure people are constantly like, "Let's go, Maddie. Like, we need you to lock in right here, right now." Like, how do you stay focused throughout those moments?
I try my hardest to, rely on my teammates and understanding that, they're in the same position I am. I mean, sometimes it's hard when I am pitching and hitting because I have to think about two different things. My freshman and sophomore year, I did not hit for Lake Central. I think I got a handful at bats. And I think it's a big adjustment trying to, stay locked in on both sides. Understanding that if something does not go my way, let's say hitting wise, I strike out, I ground out, whatever, I have to just bounce back in and understand that I have another role on this team and I need to control the game and control like the set of the game. Trying to just keep everybody calm and collected, especially if an inning does not go our way. So I think that we all have to just take a deep breath and understand that I'm not perfect, but I try my best for my teammates.
Yeah. I feel like that's the most you can do, because, I mean, there's not much more when you're playing a game like that.
I
Definitely,
mean,
when you do have
yeah,
something else that people rely on you for, I definitely can see the batting can definitely get in your way, but after that, it's kind of like, "Okay, we don't have time to sit and be sad." It's just
no.
get
We
to
do a rule at Lake Central, and it's a 3-second rule. And when we're doing this, it's no matter, if the inning is over or still going, it's you take 3 seconds. You can be angry for those 3 seconds, but then after that, you're back in and you're locked in for the game. And everything that happened previously is gone. It's over with. You can't reset it. And I think that's an important rule, especially with me, because I feel like I use it a lot and I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, I can't just mourn on my at bat or my pitching performance, and I have to lock back in, and I need to be here for my teammates.
Yeah, which I actually like that rule. I've never heard
Yeah,
of
no, it's actually really helpful. We had it's been an issue previously with attitudes on the team, and I'm not saying everyone's perfect. I mean, I could say I'm not perfect here and there. I get a little bit upset, but when we do have this rule, I think it's good to just be like, hey, like if we don't go through with this rule, then there are going to be consequences because you can't just sit there and pout the whole time.
right. You guys have a
So
game.
it's very important.
Yeah. Um, I know you guys have sectionals coming up this week. You guys play Munster, and then depending on that game, you guys go to Crown Point, like we mentioned before. What's the mindset of the team right now? How are you guys navigating through this moment?
I think every team I have friends on Crown Point's team. I have friends on Munster's team. I think that everyone is like very tight right now. But the minute that we step out there and we play our game, it's going to feel like any other game we've played all season. Um, I think that for us as Lake Central, we need to just stay loose. I think that we were very tight last week, but then as of this week, we're working on our craft and just perfecting some of those tiny adjustments that we need to make as a team. Um, Overall, I think that we're working very hard. Like we're consistently hitting every day. We're fielding, pitchers are throwing their bullpens. We're working on the small things in the game that can make or break the win or the loss of the game. And it's very important that we don't play tight and that we need to play loose as possible and not think too much and not think about, what's going on in the crowd or what our coaches, or sometimes coaches can get in your head and, it happens, but I think that we need to play for each other and not play as an individual. So I think we just need to play very loose.
Yeah, for sure. Um, you said the seniors are leaving, and I know that's very heartbreaking. And you're gonna have to step up next year. What's that feeling like knowing you're gonna be the next leader to the girls and knowing that they're gonna look at you on the team to motivate them throughout the season?
It's okay. I adore the senior class. I'm very close with all of them, and I've actually known a lot of these girls since I was very little, not only just from high school softball. Um, and I think that, them leaving, they need to understand that, hey, we're going to have a new senior class and we're going to do it, our way. It's not going to be the same how they do it. They can be, very laid back and, have their opinions and they keep it to themselves sometimes. But I think that, especially the role I have, I want to just, push them to the best that they can be, especially when it comes to practices and conditioning. Um, and knowing whatever happens this year, we can do it all over again next year.
Yeah, and your sister coming up next year definitely probably puts a little bit under your butt to make sure you're on your
I know.
best to prove to her why you
I'm
are a
so
leader.
excited to play with her. We practice together for travel ball. a lot. I drive her up to practices. We do lessons together, but I've never had a full season where I could potentially play with her.
Yeah.
So it's a very exciting moment, especially, if she works hard enough to, make varsity next year, that I could play with her.
Yeah, that was like me and my sister because we never got to play together, and we just wished I was, like, 1 year older, she was 1 year younger, because then we could have maybe played volleyball together for 1 year, but
Yeah.
honestly, I think it was for the best that we didn't play together, 'cause I don't think our attitudes at that time would have been fun to deal with for anybody. So,
I mean, she's in the beginning of her, teenage years, and it's,
yeah,
I get it. I know how I was as a freshman, but I really want to push her to be the best version because she's on the same path as I am. She plays for the same organization as me,
yeah,
with recruitment process coming up in like 2 years for her. She's gonna go through what I was going through, so it's a stressful time for her.
preparing her for what's to come.
Yes,
Yeah.
God bless her.
Talking a little bit about your injury, if you're comfortable talking about it, how was that, and what did you do to manage it throughout the season and the past couple of years?
We actually have a really good trainer at Lake Central. So I kind of just go, see her every once in a while. I still have some back stiffness. It wasn't anything, crazy. I had no broken back or whatever, but I do know a lot of people that have had like stress fractures on their back and, kind of freaked me out. And I went and jumped the gun and I went straight to physical therapy and I was like, hey, I'm going to get, this prepared and healed before it turned into anything serious. Um, I think that, especially as an athlete, you have to take care of your body a lot and understand that you are going to have to make some sacrifices if that is taking a day off. I'm very big on that. If your body is bothering you, I recognize it. My parents are very good with like, hey, just take the day off, do a self-care day. We have a lot of tools at my house. It's like the Theragun, which is like the massage gun. And, there's the stim, or we just ice it, or we, put heat on the back. I'm very good at taking care of my body. I think that's why it hasn't gotten to the point where it's been broken. Um, I think our coaches are also very good at, recognizing injuries, sooner rather than later. And they're like, hey, if you need this day off, like we understand, but go get that set and come back to practice the next day and, just, prove to yourself that like, hey, like I went and got this taken care of, whatever. So I think it's very important because we do have a lot of like small injuries on our team, but we're very good at taking care of it.
Yeah, and that's great because you don't wanna hurt yourself before you can even go
Right.
further in life, so definitely take care of yourself.
Right.
How would you describe yourself as a player?
Um, I would describe myself as a player. I think I'm very vocal and I'm a loud type of player. But I also try to stay as humble as possible. Sometimes it's very hard for, certain players to, keep that humbleness and, just trying to, stay locked in with the game. Sometimes they like to chirp and whatever. And I'm very like, I have to reel them back in. And I'm like, hey, we cannot make mean comments to other girls about anything. Like we have to, just be very respectful because I think that Lake Central is identified as a very humble and respectful team, especially with all the teams we've played. And sometimes we get a lot of chirping. And, I would say during the Crown Point game, it's very heated because we're rivals. But I
Mhm.
have no hatred for any of those girls on the team.
Yeah,
So I think that we need to stay
absolutely.
humble.
Yeah, I feel like when you're playing a game, emotions can definitely get in there, but it's nice
Exactly.
to know that you're very relying on those girls to be like, "Hey, it's just a game.
Right.
Let's keep our composure."
I know it gets a little heat, especially in the fan section. I can hear my dad and I can hear my mom and all the other parents that you could just recognize the voice right away, and it's like, hey, guys, we're all friends here, please.
Yeah. That kinda goes into my next question. I guess that could be one of yours. What's the biggest challenge mentally during a game, and how do you handle that?
Um, I would say the crowd. I would say the crowd and the umpires. I think the crowd, when you hear, especially sometimes it comes down to personal stuff. Um, if someone hears a stupid rumor about you, those people in the crowd can, take it and they can use it against you during a game, or if the crowd's just, bickering at each other. And it's over the stupidest things possible. But I think that we need to do our best to just ignore them. I know it's very hard and it's, high emotions during the game, but at the end of the day, it's teenage girls playing a sport, and then you have grown parents, complaining over there. I just don't think it needs to be most of our worries. And I think when it comes down to the umpires, sometimes they do make or break a game with the calls that they're making, like with, runners leaving early, or the strike zone, gets very tight, and, our pitchers aren't working with it. So I think that there's a lot of aspects that go into, how our team handles all of that.
Yeah, it can be very overwhelming.
Right.
Playing sports is just you gotta take it and walk away. You can't
Right.
control the game. That can make you guys happy no matter what the situation of the game is. Because I
Right.
know when I play, it's just you wanna have fun, and it can be overwhelming when things aren't going your way, but having a teammate that can really just break the ice and cause everybody to laugh is really relieving in most
Right.
times.
Even on her, toughest days, like she's not having a good day, she'll come into practice with like the best energy, and it like just immediately puts me in a good mood. So I'm going to miss that next year.
Yeah, that's great. I love that for her and for you guys as well. If you could steal one skill from any softball player, what would it be?
So I wish that I was a catcher sometimes, because my best friend makes it look so easy. But I know that there's a lot of tears and sweat that come into that position. But I would love to pick people off. I was watching just some college softball, and like how they would pick girls off. I'm like, I wish I could do that. But I'm the one throwing the ball, so
You're the one ducking if they are throwing the ball over your head.
yes. Ugh, I just wish.
Yeah, I remember when I was, like, younger and I played all-star softball when I was, like, 8, and she's like, "Pick one position you just wanna play. We're beating the crap out of this team." And I was like, "Catcher." Never again. Never again. My
It's
legs
hard.
were so sore. I was so scared that ball was flying at me. I was like, "Whoa."
I have to give a lot of grace to catchers. Like I think that they do such a phenomenal job, and especially my catcher, since that's been my best friend since I was 5 years old. I'm
Mhm.
like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
I
She's
can.
gotta have some amazing, like, leg stamina on there because oh, no.
Thank God.
Absolutely for me.
Thank God she's buff. Oh my gosh.
What is your walk-up song choice?
My walk-up song choice is "The Way I Are" by Timberland. It's like the intro, and I think the beat is just so like it gets me going. So I think it's more for me, and it like describes me as a person and like my personality. I'm very like upbeat, I'm loud, and then I have a pitching walkout song, and it is "Callback" by Don Tolliver, and I think it's like just new, and I didn't know what else to pick, so I was like, I like this song.
Yeah, definitely. Favorite athlete growing up?
I had two. My first one is on the baseball side. I loved Chris Bryant growing up, watching him play for the Cubs, and then, him going to the Rockies. I still, would watch him. I think he's a phenomenal player. And then for softball, I've always loved Rachel Garcia. I liked the fact that she not only is a pitcher, but she can also hit, but also inspired me to understand that like I could also go, to the pro, AUSL, and just dominate like she is. I think
Yeah.
she's like in her 30s, like she's married and everything. Like I inspire to be like her when I grow up.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are you a Cubs or Sox fan?
I'm a Cubs fan.
Man.
Yeah, I literally, oh my gosh, I have Chris Bryant's jersey right here.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So I think that answers your question.
I saw Notre Dame in there too.
Oh yeah, my grandpa, who passed away, is a big Notre Dame fan, and he has a big impact on my softball career. We're a lot of like just sports fans. Like we have this is my dad's office. There's a bunch of like Kentucky. There's the Blackhawks, Bears. We're a big sports family. So
That's how it is here too. Very it's very hectic.
yeah.
Um, One more question for you, Maddie. What advice would you give younger athletes hoping to play at the next level or even just start playing softball to begin with?
I really think that athletes need to understand that you're playing for yourself and you're not playing for others. Um, I think that if you don't love the sport, you don't need to keep going with it. I think you need to find something that you enjoy doing, whether it's baking, painting, playing sport in band or whatever. But if you want to start and continue to be a successful player, you're going to have to love the sport no matter what. Like, even through the ups and downs, I think you just need to keep pushing and keep working to be the best version of yourself that you can be.
Yeah, definitely. Having a mindset that you wanna do something and not that it's a force
Yeah.
can definitely make or break you and a team.
Right. And also it just has to go with like listening to your parents. Like, if your parents are forcing you to play a sport, and make sure it's a sport you enjoy, not something that you're going to be miserable with
Right, because 'cause you're
the
putting a
rest
lot
of
of
your
time and effort in this, so
exactly. And their money.
yeah. Oh, I agree. I agree. 100%. Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking the time to talk with us. Best of luck with you and the team in sectionals and also with everything with Kentucky. And we're excited to keep following you in your journey.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely.
It was so nice talking to you.
You too.
Bye.